Okay, yes, this is the Radio Preacher Man, and I'm glad to be here, and I have a special guest, Lindsey Williams, joining us tonight, and he has been a guest on the show on a couple of other occasions, and he gave us an email this week and said he had some very urgent announcements that needed to be made in the next 7 days, so we have arranged to have him come on tonight for a special Sunday appearance. Lindsey, how are you, my friend?
Brian, what a privilege it is to get such an introduction like that. I agree with you. We're honored. That sounds marvelous.
Yes, I am too. My wife, she's a humdinger. We got this figured out, sort of. But we usually have a producer through the week, and he's not on the weekends, so we have to kind of do it ourselves, you know. And so here we go. We figure it out little by little. She does. Between her and my producer, they do all the technical stuff. Works out better that way, I guess. But
well, you let your wife know that she does a good job of introductions, and she is very much appreciated.
Oh, good. She probably heard that. She's in the other room on her computer as well. So, well, hallelujah. And if we get any callers, she'll put them through for us. So, wow, what has I'm led to wonder. Now, your history, just a little bit, I'll brief folks, or you can, one or the other, but you were a chaplain to the elite group of people that run our government, I guess, essentially. For several years, you had a chance to be a chaplain on the oil pipelines. Is that correct, or the oil rigs? Can you explain that to my audience? A little bit of your history.
Yes, Brian, you're right. But, you know, it's been a while since I've been with you on your show, and you always have new people out there, so I'm sure I have a lot of new friends today. So, yeah, just briefly, I'll give some background. I had been the pastor of a church for 12 years and went to Alaska as a missionary. And just after arriving there, they announced the building of the Trans-Alaska Oil Pipeline. Now, at the time, there were a group of people, I call them the elite. They are people who run the world. Don't ever doubt the fact that such people exist. And I was actually invited for a 3-year period to be the chaplain to the elite of the world. It was by the providence of God. There's no other way that it could have possibly happened. And as a result, I got to rub shoulders with, sit across the dinner table from, and live with some of the people that the average person only hears about, but never gets to know them personally. And there again, I must give the Lord all the glory and all the praise, because there's no way that a minister of the gospel could have had such a privilege except by the providence of God. Now, that was back about 38 years ago. These people today are in their 70s and 80s. I don't know how to say it except that my experience of living with these people for 3 years' time changed my life. Keep in mind, they were not coming to my church. I was on their oil pipeline. I was living with them at Prudhoe Bay. I had an opportunity to personally talk one-on-one in their business. And it was quite different than a person coming to a person's church. I learned back in those days, without any question, that there positively is a group of people on the face of the earth who control the world. If you ever had any doubt about that, please don't ever doubt it again. They positively do exist. Now, those people today still know everything that goes on behind closed doors. I care not what it may be. I made some close friends with some of those people back in those days, and have kept in touch with them over these years. And from time to time, I'm on the telephone with one of them, or one of them may visit my home, and they tell me things that are going to happen in the next month, or the next 6 months, or the next year, or what's to be expected in the financial world, or in the political world, or who the next president of the United States of America is going to be, because they control all of this. And over these years, 38 years, never one time have they ever told me anything that it didn't happen exactly like they said it. The reason being is they plan it behind closed doors before it ever happens in real life. This past week, I had a similar experience, Brian, and I had a contact from what I would like to call an insider, and the information I was given is the reason that I sent you the email.
And they don't mind you sharing this information with the world, Lindsey, or did they leak it on purpose so that you could share it, or what's the angle with that?
Well, let me give a brief background of some things that I learned when I lived with them. I try my best to analyze these people. Keep in mind, they don't think like the average person thinks. They think in terms of manipulation of nations and telling Congress what to do and controlling the country. And they think in terms of millions of people in banking. I had an opportunity to sit one-on-one and talk with these people for hours and hours and try my best to analyze their thinking, and there was something I learned about them. Now, keep in mind, I have been brought up in a wonderful Christian home. I had gone off to Bible college. I got a bachelor's degree, and then was a pastor for 12 years. So I had a lot of opportunity to counsel, analyze people, and I'm glad I did, because one of the things I learned about these elite is they do have a code of ethics. Now, I know this sounds strange. People that would intentionally control currencies, tell OPEC and the Arabs on any given day what they're going to give them for a barrel of oil, determine what bills Congress is going to pass and pay them off to do it, and yet they have a code of ethics. Now, it's not the code of ethics, Brian, that you or I would know from the Bible, but it's their code of ethics, and one of the facets of their code of ethics is they must tell the world what they're going to do in advance before they do it. Now, I know this sounds unusual, but they'll tell you through a Hollywood movie. They may tell you through some newscast on the secular news media. And as you mentioned a moment ago, I think there are times that they have told me things I would suggest that there's probably one of two reasons that these people would tell me things. Number one, they would tell me for my own protection. Now, keep in mind that I probably was the only person of my type that some of these people would ever come in contact in their lifetime. A minister of the gospel, a man who believes God's word and believes in the inspiration of God's word, and would be honest with them up front. They asked me a question, I told them whether they liked my answer or not. And I think over these years, these people have told me things in order to help me protect my own family. And I have. I've been very protected. I've known in advance many things that were going to happen, and have been able to make some investments and do other things because based on what they have told me. And I think out of courtesy and admiration for the fact that I gave 3 years of my life as their chaplain, I think they oftentimes tell me things. And then secondly, they know that whenever they tell me something that I feel is going to affect the dinner table and the lifestyle of people, they know I'm going to tell it. And I do. In fact, this next week I will probably have millions of people that will be listening because I sent out an email to a number of radio shows, and I said, everyone in your listening audience needs to know this. And as a result, I probably will have an opportunity to tell millions of people this week something that will save them great heartache and can help spare your dinner table. There are some catastrophic events that the elite have planned. Some of the things I know when it's going to happen, and some things I don't have dates about. But the things they gave me this past week, now I hope that everyone in your listening audience has a pencil and paper, because I'm going to give some very technical details this afternoon. And by the way, Brian, I have only been on one other radio show. This is brand new information. This has never been given out before. I only received it on Thursday of this past week, Thursday, June the 20th. Not a single financial newsletter has come out with this yet. You are hearing something for the very first time that the average person will hear. I want you to have a pencil and paper so that you can write down some details, because these details can be a great blessing to you and friends of yours and can greatly help you in coming days to know what to do. Now, let me give a brief background to this. Back about a year to a year and a half ago, I was told by my elite friend some things that were going to happen within a year to a year and a half. He talked to me about some major crises in the financial world. Now, there have been many people over the past year, many radio talk show hosts and others, newsletter writers, who have predicted, we're going to have a crash. We're going to have a financial crash in the next 3 or 4 months. Well, I knew better. I knew that it would not happen for at least a year and a half. Now, that year and a half is drawing within about a 6 to 7 month close. But I kept on saying over all of this time, the elite are not ready for it to happen yet. But from time to time, they will call me on the phone or send me an email and say this is what's going to happen. There have been some things that have happened in the past week that are so catastrophic and so important to the average person. I want to try to explain that this fits in perfect accord with things that they have told me in the past. About a year ago, I produced a DVD series entitled The Next 4 Years and How to Survive the Next 4 Years. And in it, I told that one of the elite had told me that the way that they would bring the world's financial system down. Now, please understand what I'm not just talking about the United States of America now. I'm speaking of Europe. I'm speaking of China, Japan, India. I care not what country it is. The elite have planned a point at which they're going to bring all the currencies of the world to bankruptcy, if I could put it that way. And it's not going to take place this month.
Well,
it's not going to take place 2 months from now. Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead, Brian.
You said it's going to take place this month?
No, it will not. I said you will not see this take place this month nor next, but they have it planned as a future event. And I was told back over a year ago how they were going to do this. Now, again, I hope you have that pencil and paper ready, because I want you to write down a word for me. I want you to write down the word derivative, derivative. Now, most people look at Wall Street and the stock market, and they think that they will know in advance that we're going to have a financial problem in the world because of a stock market crash. That's the furthest thing in the world from the truth. The stock market, New York, Wall Street, is totally manipulated every day, and it has no relationship whatsoever to reality. It's all a sham world. But if you really want to know when the elite are going to bring a major crisis with the American dollar and the other currencies of the world, you need to know how to watch the derivative market. And this is one of the things I'll try to explain to you today. Now, derivatives are, if I could put it in just simple terms, derivatives are a glorified banker's world of Las Vegas, how should I put it, globalist elite gambling. That's all derivatives are. There's no control to them. Every bank in the world is involved in derivatives. Most of the super wealthy are involved in derivatives. And derivatives are a glorified gambling casino that's operated by the super wealthy of the world And this is the way that they make so much of their money. Now, whenever they and of course, the derivative market was established back about 35, 40 years ago, actually. And when they get ready to collapse all the currencies of the world, they will do it by collapsing the derivative market. There was something that happened this past week that I think was probably a test in relation to the derivative market. So now, since you have those pencil and paper handy, I want you to write down lindseyWilliams.net, because I want you to go and actually read these things. When I received this on Friday, it happened on Thursday and Thursday night. And when I received it on Friday, I immediately posted it on my website, Lindsey, Lindsey, Williams.net, N-E-T. And you can go there and read what I'm about to give you and explain it sentence by sentence. You can go there and actually read it. You can print it out if you'd like and digest it like I'm going to do here on the program today. And when I received this material, I realized that they performed, the insiders, the people who control the world, actually performed a test case this past week to see how the markets would react when they did something. So, Brian, if you don't mind, I will just take piece by piece, one at a time, these two emails that were sent to me, and then you will probably see some of this in the news media and on the financial news wires this coming week. To my knowledge, it hasn't appeared anywhere yet. So let me go into the first one, if I may.
Because I thought I heard something about something, but let's see if it's the same thing. It had to do with, I thought, with the interest rates changing. But let's see what you come up with.
Brian, that is exactly right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now,
they're going to try to rain on our little recovery parade.
Yes. I was
told. Well, you go ahead and read the email, Lindsey, and let's see what it said.
I was told by one of these insiders well over a year ago that I should watch one thing. He said, watch interest rates. And I said, what do you mean? He said, whenever the Federal Reserve Chairman announces that interest rates are going to rise, he said it's all over with. Now, I hope you caught that. Now, this is a simple thing that any average person can keep in touch with every day yourself. You don't have to be a professional financier or money manager in order to listen to what the Federal Reserve says about interest rates. As most of you know, interest rates have been almost zero, 0.3. It fluctuates just a little bit, less than 1%. Interest rates have been that way for a number of years. And he said to me, he said, Chaplain, you will know when the financial crisis is going to take place whenever you hear it announced that interest rates are going to rise. Well, Mr. Bernanke, Chairman of the Federal Reserve, did not announce this past week that interest rates were going to rise. He did announce something all right, and it scared the daylights out of the financial world. He announced that QE3, that they might begin to taper it off. Well, the reason the financial world reacted so much to that is because they know that the moment that the Federal Reserve quits printing billions and billions of dollars every week, they know that whenever that quits, that interest rates have got to rise. Now, Mr. Bernanke didn't announce interest rate rising yet, but they did. That's right. He didn't announce it, but it happened. Now, let me read it to you. It began, first of all, with a large Chinese bank. That's correct. Now, you know how much of our debt the Chinese hold is somewhere between $1 and $2 trillion. And they basically control a lot of things in America. A large Chinese bank on Wednesday night ran out of liquidity. Now, let me try to explain that word liquidity. Liquidity does not mean that they ran out of money. It means that they ran out of excess money to be able to carry on their banking activities for the following day. And that's dangerous. That's very dangerous for a bank, because if they can't do business, they go out of business. And the government of China said they were going to come to their rescue and bail them out. That was on Wednesday. But on Thursday, they changed their mind and said, we might not bail them out. Okay, that caused a major, major event in the financial world. And here it is. The 7-day repo rate, or the benchmark rate for funding costs for banks. Let me try to explain this. Overnight, while you and I are sleeping, banks are doing billions of dollars worth of business. That's right. And they're preparing for the following day. This happens all over the world. And banks will do what is called interbank lending and borrowing. And for a long time, as long as anybody can remember, the interbank liquidity lending rate has been 3.30%. Something very strange happened on Thursday. During the day on Thursday, that interbank lending rate surged from 3.3% to 8.26%. That is drastic.
Right,
because that means then that banks... Yeah, go ahead, Brian.
That's more than double the previous rate.
And this hasn't happened since 2008. Are you catching this? Do you know what happened in 2008?
That's when the stock market crashed.
Yes.
Did that have a correlation with the stock market?
Yeah. In 2008, we saw a major stock market calamity that affected our economy in a drastic manner. So during the day on Thursday, this rate, interbank lending rate, and again, keep in mind, if a bank needs money, they borrow it from another bank. If another bank has an excess of money, they'll loan it to another bank. And they do this every night. Billions and billions of dollars are traded out there while you're sleeping. Well, that rate of 3.3% had been steady, but all of a sudden it ended and just surged to 8.26 during the day on Thursday. And then Thursday night, it surged again and went to 12.33%. I hope you're catching this. You've got to go back and find this on the Internet and look at some of your financial newsletters and see how severe this was. This caused a crunch that was almost identical to 2008. And as a result, the Wall Street stock market, as you remember, this past week, on Thursday and Friday, it lost about 500 points. But then they were able to kind of keep it steady. And then when I got this email saying that this rate had gone from that up to 8% and then up to 12%, I realized that on Thursday night, banks literally didn't do any business. Did you catch this? If you had gone to your bank,
who would want to do it at that rate? Yeah. What is causing this increase to be so drastic and sudden? Is it just that the elites have decided to do this now, or is there a reason behind this?
Well, there's a reason behind it. Keep in mind that the powers that be, the insiders, they oftentimes will do a dry run. Let me try to put it this way. Suppose Boeing Aircraft should produce a brand new airplane. They would not fill it up with passengers and its first flight fly a plane load of passengers around the country. They wouldn't do that. They would take that airplane and they would test run it for days and days and maybe months before they ever sold it to an airline to be used to fly passengers with. Now, we call that a dry run. And this is exactly what the elite do sometimes. They will bring about a dry run, so to speak, an event, in order to see really what's going to happen. They do that in our country. And there are a number of items like this that they've done recently that, well, let me give you an example. Now, I don't think that the elite had anything whatsoever to do with those children that were killed in that school at Sandy Hook, but they took advantage of it. And our president, after that event took place, made the statement that he was going to do everything in his power in order to put controls on handguns so that this would never happen again. Something happened that the insiders didn't expect to happen. Literally, people in America wiped out the gun stores. They sold everything that was on the shelves and all the ammunition. It's almost impossible to buy ammunition now. The President of the United States of America became the greatest salesman of guns of any president that we've ever had. Now, this was not intentional. They thought that the American people would go along with the president and want some legislation for the control of handguns, as Australia had done, as England did, as Canada did, but the American people did the exact opposite. They went and bought every gun they could find in the gun stores and all the ammunition that they could get. And it literally scared the elite to death. You might call this a dry run. They used a test case to see what the American people would do. Now, this past Thursday, they used a test case to see what the markets would do. And they found out. They found out, first of all, that banks would quit trading amongst themselves overnight. They found out that the New York stock market would plunge. Now, this is exactly what they wanted to know. They wanted to know if this would happen. And as a result, I feel that we won't have any big problem on Monday morning. There were some people that when they saw this happening, they thought we are going to have a major problem on Monday morning. And I kept telling people I don't think we will. Now, we might. Tomorrow morning, if that rate stayed up at 12.33%, there'd be some major problems in banking in America and with the New York Stock Exchange. But I don't think that's going to happen because I was told by them back about a year and a half ago that it would not happen. And there's still about 6 to 8 months before they actually want it to take place. But I don't have a date yet, so I can't set it for you. But I feel that they tried a test run to see what would happen if they did this, and they did. They surged that rate from 3.3% to 12.33%. Now, they have also been doing something else recently. And please, again, may I urge you, go to my website, lindseywilliams.net, and you can read these for yourself. Now, let me show you something else that they've been doing over the past 30 days. In 1 month's time, they have caused this to happen, and I believe they're causing it to happen to see what how the markets are going to respond worldwide. Let me read it to you. This was the second email that I was sent. The U.S. market has declined over the past month. Now, most of you know that. You know that sales have declined drastically in America. Okay, so I'm going to give you a number of examples.
Retail sales? You're talking about retail sales, like furniture and cars and things, are up the decline?
Retail sales, sales of almost every kind have declined drastically in the past month. Let me give you some examples of other things that are very important. The Japanese stock market within the past 30 days has dropped 20%. The U.S. bond market has sold off. Oh, this is very, very drastic. The rate on 30-year bonds went up to approximately 2.5%. Now, it becomes danger zone if it goes past 2.5% because we can't pay off the national debt. Keep in mind, we have sold T-bills, Treasury bills, to the entire world. And that is what has paid the national debt of the United States of America, because the super wealthy of the world have been willing to buy our T-bills. And any time that the interest rate goes up, then we have to pay more on the interest rate, and the American government can't do this because we're already bankrupt. So the bond market, the sales of the bonds have stayed right around 2.5%, and everybody knows, everybody in the financial world knows, that anytime that bond sale market of 30-year bonds gets past 2.5%, we are in big, big trouble, and it's a major, major indicator. So the bond market in the past 30 days alone we've seen a major sell-off. Again, gold. I'm sure everybody realizes what's happened to gold. Gold has gone down 20% year to date.
What is it at right now, Lindsey?
The gold right now, I think, is somewhere around $1,200 an ounce. It was up to $1,900 at one point. So wow. It has dropped drastically. The Chinese stock market has fallen in the past 30 days 19.69%. Chinese. The reason being is Walmart, Target, England, the world, the nations of the world, their economy is in such that they aren't buying the Chinese products like they used to. And as a result, the Chinese stock market has drastically suffered. And China won't admit to it. They've got a big problem, and they're admitting very little. But it has dropped 19.69%. The emerging markets of the world, the developing nations, you can take third world countries that are becoming up-to-date nations. These nations, let's take them as a whole, their economies have depreciated by 11.3% in the past 30 days. Now, there's one indicator that everybody needs to watch. Now, the whole financial world considers this to be the major indicator. Gold and silver are not the major indicators that the super wealthy watch. I want to tell you what it is. The financiers of the world watch the price of copper. That's right. The old penny used to be copper, and they don't give it to us anymore. But copper prices, whenever copper prices go up and down, the rich people of the world take notice. Let me show you what's happened to copper prices. The premier asset, which is copper, has in the past, let's see, let me get it right here. In the past month, since year to date, that would mean since January the 1st, copper prices has contracted 18%. And investors are scared to death because they realize that copper has contracted 18%, gold and silver have contracted, our stock market is having problems, these other nations are having trouble, and as a result, the powers that be, the forces that control the world, have basically brought some things to pass in the past 30 days, and I believe it's a test case. I don't think we're going to have a major event take place on Monday morning, but they've got things right to a point where they can tell what is happening in the world. And folks, you need to be very careful. You've got to watch the stock markets. You've got to see what's going to happen to the dollar. Now, let me go to the next item that is such a major issue. J.P. Morgan, on, let's see, the 12th.
You got a whole nother email. J.P. Morgan did what, sir?
Yeah, in the 12th of June, J.P. Morgan announced that their gold vault, now, J.P. Morgan, the COMEX, are some of the major gold holders of the world. And many of you know that many of the nations of the world have demanded physical delivery of their gold. Mr. Chavez, before he died in Venezuela. He said, I want all of my gold brought home. And he demanded that Europe and the banks in New York physically deliver Venezuela's gold, which was hundreds of metric tons, that they demand that they deliver it back to Venezuela. Well, other nations are beginning to realize that the gold vaults of the world may not hold the gold that they say they do. And so as a result, Germany demanded their gold be returned. China is demanding that their gold be returned. India is demanding that their gold be returned. And there has been a major run on the vaults of the world that hold the gold supply of the world. And this has happened within the past few weeks. So I want to give you some figures now. J.P. Morgan announced
the price of gold. I mean, rather than it going down.
Yeah, these are the vaults that hold the gold, and they will say to China, we'll give you a piece of paper saying we have your gold. But then China turns around and says, yeah, then China turns around and says, no, you're not going to hold our gold any longer. We want you to physically deliver it back to us. We don't want this paper anymore. And that's what Venezuela did and Chavez before he died. Now, J.P. Morgan is one of those gold vaults. They hold tons, metric tons of gold. In 1 week's time, let's see, was it overnight or 1 week? J.P. Morgan announced that overnight, on the 12th of June, that their gold vault had diminished by 28.4%. Did you catch this? This is over 1 quarter. Now, let me try to put this in perspective. A massive 6,208 metric tons were demanded to be delivered by customers. 80% of the total of the entire COMEX, the people have demanded that nations of the world and super wealth have demanded that gold be delivered. And as a result, the gold vaults are giving out. And what people are coming to realize within the past few weeks is that these banks don't have that much gold. J.P. Morgan, the COMEX, they said we have so much gold. Banks in Europe and New York and the Federal Reserve in Fort Knox, people are beginning to realize that they've been issued paper that the gold is there. And then those places store the gold for the super wealthy. But now the super wealthy are saying, we don't think you have that much gold. And we're demanding physical delivery. And as the physical delivery is given, the gold vaults are giving out. And they're giving out before they have enough to be able to deliver. And this has happened within the past few weeks. And J.P. Morgan announced that please catch this figure. They announced that within a month and a half, at the present rate of gold being demanded for delivery, that within a month and a half, their gold vault will be empty. That is catastrophic. And you're not hearing this on the national news media. But can you imagine what will happen the day that J.P. Morgan and other major gold vaults around the world announce that they have just given out of gold? And they don't have enough to supply the rest of the people, that they gave them a piece of paper saying, we have your gold? Can you imagine what's going to happen the day that happens?
They didn't have any accountability, Lindsey, going into this situation. You know,
this has never happened before. Never in the history of the world. Yeah,
I mean, there wasn't an auditing system in place for these vaults to guarantee that they had what they said they had.
That's right. None whatsoever. People took the word of J.P. Morgan, which is one of the biggest finance houses in the world, the COMEX. They took the world. The world took the word of the fact that Fort Knox has the gold in it. but it's never been audited. Nobody knows. And now that so many people are demanding physical delivery, they're saying, J.P. Morgan is saying, at this present rate of physical delivery demand, within a month and a half, our vault will be empty. Now, there's no way in this world that they can supply all the gold that they've given out papers saying they have. And when that happens, well, what I'm basically trying to say to you is that my insider friend has said to me, Chaplain, you had better make all preparations necessary. Now, I have said on your program, last time I had the privilege of being with you, and I've said it on many other programs, you must get out of paper of every kind. I don't care what it is. If it is written on a piece of paper, it's worth the paper it's written on. And I beg you to make some preparations for yourself, because we are facing some very unusual events in a very short period of time. I cannot give a date. I don't have a date. All I know is that I have been warned to make any preparations that I should make for my own household. Now, you can save yourself major heartache. I want to tell you how.
I was going to ask
when
you.
I got this yes, go ahead, Brian.
No, that's what I was going to ask you. What are we supposed to do in this situation?
Well, back about, I think it was about 2 months ago, I said, I have got to help people know what to do. And I produced a DVD series entitled New Signs the Elite Have Just Given Me. If you'll go on my website, lindseywilliams.net, and you will look at DVD presentations, that presentation is still available, and I beg you, for the sake of your dinner table, to get the DVD series that was just produced back a few weeks ago entitled New Signs the Elite Have Given Me. There's the second one that I beg of you to get. Many of you realize that on January the 1st of 2014, the health care bill is going to kick in. I hope you realize what consequences that you're going to suffer when this happens. It is estimated by those in the know that 40% of the doctors in America will have quit the medical profession by January the 1st of next year because they realize they can't make a living any longer under the new health care program, which is commonly called Obamacare.
What percentage of doctors?
40% of the healthcare professionals, they're saying, will have retired. The older ones are quitting completely. If you may know some doctors that have retired within the past few months. I can name doctor after doctor after doctor who has said, we're quitting the profession. We can't do it any longer. You need to go to one website. I hope you will go and look this up for yourself. There is a doctor, a very prominent doctor in America called David Janda, Janda. I urge you to go to YouTube and look at David Janda, Dr. David Janda. He's so popular until he was asked to speak before Congress recently in relation to the health care program. That's how well known this man is. Dr. David Janda, Janda. You can watch his presentation on YouTube. He said to me, I've gotten to know him fairly well. I've been on his show a number of times. He has a radio show also. And he said, Lindsey, 40% of the healthcare professionals will be quitting by January the 1st. He said, go and try to get medical service whenever this new healthcare program comes in. Many of the doctors are saying we won't even have part in the healthcare program unless you pay up front. You want to get medical service from us. I mean, folks, you don't have the slightest idea what you are facing as of January the 1st.
To me. All my doctors quit, and now I have all foreign doctors. All my doctors are foreign.
Honey, okay,
yes.
My wife had a lot of her doctors to retiring too, and sorry
yes.
she interrupted you there. But,
and many of these foreign doctors, and many of these foreign doctors are going back home. They're leaving America because they realize they can't make a living under the health care program any longer. They're going back to their own countries. Now, I did something I've never done before. I have always dealt with the financial side of things and what's happening in government and what's happening in oil. I did something just a few days ago I have never done before. I produced a DVD series telling where the insiders, where the elite go when they want health care. Now, these were secrets up until just recently. I want to assure you that there positively is no reason any longer for you to suffer from cancer, heart problems, chronic fatigue syndrome. I could just go on and on, sugar diabetes. Have you ever wondered why no president of the United States of America in our history, not a single president has ever died with cancer? Why? They know where to go.
Well, they probably have the right medicine. You know,
they know exactly what to do. When President Ronald Reagan was president of the United States of America, he was diagnosed with colon cancer. He refused to be operated on. He would not take chemotherapy or radiation. He brought a substance into America that was illegal to be sold in this country. He took it, and until the day of his death, he never had a reoccurrence of his colon cancer. I decided I could not keep quiet any longer because of the crisis that you're going to face as of January the 1st of 2014. And I stuck my neck out and produced a DVD series entitled Healing the Elite Way. Now, it's not even available until the 25th of this month. You can go on my website if you'd like, and you can buy it in advance. And 2 days from now, the first of these will be available. That's right, today's the 23rd. On the 25th, we actually ship the first ones. It's entitled Healing. I tell you all the secrets that I have learned from the elite, whereby you never need to have a heart attack. There's never any reason whatsoever for you to suffer from cancer. There is something you can do about it. And I, for the first time, tell you the secrets of the elite. You will be amazed. Please go to my website, lindseywilliams.net, and you will find the new DVD series entitled Healing. You'll also find there the series New Signs the Elite Have Given Me. Now, let me also give you a toll-free number in case you wish to call it on tomorrow. Of course, the office is closed today, but those people who handle my DVDs, you can call toll-free as of tomorrow, office hours. Please call 1-888-799-6111. Once again, that is toll-free, 888-799-6111. Or you can go on the web, if you'd like, to lindseywilliams.net, and you'll find these DVD presentations available. And the new one, which will actually be delivered, the first ones on the 25th, 2 days from now, is entitled Healing the Elite Way. You need to know what to do. You can spare yourself heartache. I have promised, and I'll make this promise here now also. The moment that one of my insider friends tells me, Lindsey, Chaplain Williams, I think this financial event is going to take place within the next, and the moment they give me a date, I promise, Brian, I will send you an email and I'll say, my elite friend has said we better watch out. I'm trying to tell you right now that it's not too long off, and we have a major financial crisis that's going to take place in America and in the entire world. I hope that you will take precautions. You need to have already prepared yourself with extra food in your house and extra water. You definitely need to get out a paper every way possible. Every insider that I know has already stole their stocks and bonds. They've gotten out of paper, and they've gotten into tangibles. A tangible can be many things. It can be a roof over your head that's paid for if you can afford to pay off your house. And whenever you can't make that house payment, they'll come and take it back. Be assured of that. It can be a plot of ground in the backyard where you can grow a garden. It can be gold. It can be silver. Right now, gold, the prices have gone so low, and it is going back up. It's going to go up drastically. And whenever it does, you'll be glad that you bought it at a lower price right now. The elite have bought gold by the tons because they know what's going to happen to the price whenever it's announced that J.P. Morgan, the COMEX, and others don't have their gold any longer. They know that prices are going to skyrocket. And please keep a few signs in mind. Number one, you must watch interest rates. And the moment you hear that interest rates are going to begin to rise, the moment Mr. Bernanke announces that, or announces that he's not going to continue QE3, anything that you have in paper, shortly after that, you've lost it if you can't get it out. Now, I'm talking about everything from your bank account to your IRAs, to your 401ks, to your mutual funds. I don't care what they are. If it's written on a piece of paper, it's worth the paper it's written on. And you need to begin to make some precautions right now because the elite want to bring the financial system down so they can bring in their new currency. Yes, that's right. They have a new currency. They want a worldwide currency. And it'll be backed by gold and silver. That's the reason that prices of gold and silver will go up so much. And the moment that you hear interest rates are going to rise, watch out. If you have it in paper, you've lost it. You can please learn how to watch the derivative market. It is estimated that the derivative market is approximately 1 quadrillion. Yeah, I know we can't even comprehend that. And it's totally unregulated. But every bank in the world plays it every day. And you need to know how to watch it. And I will help you know how to do that on my DVD series. So again, Brown, it has been a privilege to be with you today. I notice we're running out of time here. Again, please go to LindseyWilliams.net, and I will post there anytime this coming week that I get a bulletin that I feel is catastrophic. I will post it on that website, LindseyWilliams.net, and you'll find the 2 emails that my insider friend sent to me this past week. You will find them actually posted there. You can read them for yourself and copy them, and then know how to watch carefully what's happening in the world so that you can save yourself some heartache. Keep in mind, many, many people made great fortunes at the time of the Great Depression in 1929 through 1933. Not everybody stood in a soup line. There were many people who knew in advance it was going to happen. And after the prices fell, they had made preparations themselves. And as a result, they were able to buy things for pennies on the dollar, and they made great fortunes. There is no reason for you to have to suffer through what the elite are going to do to this world. And I'm trying my best to help you know how to do it. So I will do everything I can in order to help you know in advance what's happening. And, Brian, I want to thank you and your lovely wife and this station for allowing me to be here today to tell you something that I think is so vital to the welfare of every person out there in your listening audience.
Well, we thank you for coming on, Lindsey, on such a short notice that, we were booked up, and we were just glad to be able to get you in to spread this warning, if you will. And thank you for also your work on the health care, the Healing the Elite Way, and that kind of thing, because it is good to know how to take care of yourself in hard times. It really is. We don't know what the future holds, and an ounce of prevention may indeed be worth a pound of cure. So we want to thank you for coming on, Lindsey, and that's Lindsey Williams from LindseyWilliams.net, folks, if you want to check out his work there. And have a blessed evening, sir.
Thank you, Brian. Lord bless now.